Talking to Charlton manager Karl Robinson ahead of Saturday's trip to Bradford. Karl, you'd taken charge of one game, and before that you'd watched the team twice. In that time, what big pluses have you discovered, and have you had to change much?
There's been a question that's been asked a lot of times by an awful lot of people, because obviously managers come into teams and they've lost 5 on the spin, or there's so many different permutations and the reasons why. I feel that there's a lot of good here. There's a lot. The process of change was in that sort of circle in some ways, and I felt that to totally dismantle some of the good things, it's my job to add on to things. There's so many things that I've tried to add into the group that I'm not quite seeing yet. There's some movement patterns that I expect if we're going to play the way we want to play. I think teams, the fans have all seen on Saturday what the first half, what MK Dons did, that's almost how I want to get it to. But I think having then the cutting edge in the final third, that aggressive nature, that direct nature, playing aggressively through the thirds, I think that'll come with time. And what I have seen here is a very solid group, a very together group, a very unified group, and that's something that I want to build on. Like the clean sheeting's one of the best back fours records, and when you look at the moment, we've got so many injuries, so having so many players out and just to try and keep ticking over in this period of time and get this little window out the way, and then we go again. Obviously January is going to be a big time for us, and the players that we can bring in to support what's already a very, very good squad.
Have you targeted areas that need improvement? I mean, for instance, a lot of people say that maybe the midfield is a little bit pedestrian.
I wouldn't say pedestrian. I'd say it certainly needs strengthening. I think when you look at purely and simply because of numbers, I think we've only got 2 real recognised centre midfield players in the first team squad, in Freddie and Crofty, and for as much as they've been fantastic for some of the performance they've done and in the games we've seen, they've been real stalwarts in there and kept this group together. But if we want to go forward, we've got to make competition in there. It's obvious. I think even them players expect that as well. But we've got young Joe Rebo, who scored a fantastic goal on Monday night, so I really enjoy watching him. There's Cookie in there, there's another young player that could come through. But I'm not too sure whether they're ready immediately, but we can't really block their development either. So you've got to be careful sometimes by loading certain areas, because when we've got our youth policy here with Steve and obviously Jace, who've done wonderfully well, I don't want to make too many massive changes and bring in young players and stop our young players progressing. But it is an area that we're looking to strengthen, enhance that group. And I think there's other areas as well. I think we need a number 10 in case you want to change our system. I know Ricky can play in there, but with him being out for a period of time is difficult. I think the emergence of Jordan at the weekend, I think he for as much as what he can frustrate people with his unpredictability, the unpredictability can equally be a strength. And I think we've been lacking that, especially at home. And I want to get at teams. And for as much as what they may defensively, we may have to give a little bit away. I think he can give us so much more going forward, and I think you've seen that. I think everybody knows that. He just maybe needs to run a games to really enhance his development.
And have you decided which formation suits this bunch of players best?
Yeah, again, that's another challenge for me. Of when you think over 350 odd games playing one system. Okay, yeah, every week there was a tweak to it. There was a different way in it. To completely go with a system that suits the players has been a challenge for me, and a challenge that for my future career has been a great learning curve as well, and one that I'm really embracing, and the players are embracing a change. It's not so much changing the system, it's maybe changing the way we use the system, and that's been the hardest part of it, but it's been the most enjoyable part of it as well, and the players have really engaged and really tried to improve.
You touched on it earlier, injury problems, Ricky Harms, Chris Solly. How long are you going to be without them for?
And Jacko as well. Deck being out is a big loss. Chris, I'm hoping he's back in training tomorrow. I know we leave tomorrow, but he's trained, and hopefully he'll get a hard session tomorrow and Saturday. He might even make the trip on Tuesday. We'll have to wait and see. We've also got Jacko, who will train today. Ricky, maybe when we come after the FA Cup game, maybe there might be integration there. I'd like to have him back before the turn of the year. Deck is out training as well at the moment, so he's in that little bit of a rehabilitation period. So you can see it's close, but not close enough for me. Obviously, I'm a little bit greedy.
Is Ricky a long-term injury doubt for you?
I think when you have any sort of metatarsal injury, I think it's quite conclusive what he's done. It's one that there's always a time scale on. But again, if he comes back, I can't foresee him breaking down. I think it's one that he will come back when the medical team think he's good and ready to keep in the team. If it was obviously a big signing in the summer, as everyone knows, he's influential in what we do going forwards. And to go without him over recent weeks has been a big loss for the football club. But I believe that once he's back and Jordan gets up to speed and we can do one or two things in January with the firepower that we have and the support we can give them in midfield and the back four, we can keep them going. I know Esri came in. I think he's someone that everyone's got a very keen eye on at the football club. Someone has already took a shine to very quickly. I like the way he plays. Dylan showed everybody, touch wood, he can continue his form, but he's come in as a young goalkeeper and really stood up to the task. And then you've got the best goalkeeper in the league come back in. So it's a real strong group and one that I'm really excited about once everyone's fit and I can get what I want in January. That'll be a real starting point for us, and I'm really excited by that. In the meantime, I think Nuge and Clarkey and Chris and Lee have literally worked the socks off, and I know the medical staff, Al and Karl and all their support team. I want to go on record to say thank you to these people. They've really welcomed me and they've really stood up to the task, and they've been challenging me and I've been challenging them. And this football club, inside, I can honestly say, mate, there's some fantastic professional people in this training ground. Wonderful people, and it's been a real pleasure to learn from them and hopefully learn together, and hopefully the players can see that, the intensity in which the staff are trying to bring, and hopefully we can take this forward onto the football pitch, and the results are the be all and end all, but they're not going to come right away. But getting that draw on Saturday when they play really well, to come back second half to show what I want. I think the fans have seen I do get involved in the game. I do expect my players to run around. I do expect them to tackle. I do expect them to foul. I do expect them to play aggressively. I do expect them to pass. I do expect them to score goals and still have that solidarity and that security behind all that. And I get right involved in it because I want the fans to get involved in it, and I want this solidarity. And I think you've seen already it'll start to grow together. It won't happen overnight. I think they have to learn to trust me as their manager. Players and fans alike, and hopefully this journey will be one that we'll all enjoy together. And the first league game away at Bradford, drawn 5, won 5, arguing the best home records in the league, but we're Charlton and we'll be a big team going to there, and I'm really looking forward to it. I know it's changed names. I was going to call it its old name, but it's changed names. But it's a stadium that is transfixed in football history for some horrendous things that have gone on, and obviously for some wonderful games that have happened there. It's a very historical football club and a very proud football club. But so are we. It was once a Premier League fixture. It just shows you how good League One now is.
I was going to touch on Bradford City. Big ground, big support as well. No doubt you're relishing that.
No, I'm scared. Listen, it is a very passionate place, and obviously having their icon back as their leader in some ways obviously has brought so many fond memories back to the football club, building on the success of Phil Parkinson. But it's like what we are here, isn't it? I'm sure if they were coming to the Valley, they'd be saying exactly the same thing. Very historical football club, very passionate fans. Not a good place to go and play. So it's two giants of League One going toe to toe, and I think it'll be a very honest, very aggressive game, and I think two sets of very honest players.
And finally, can I ask you, Richie Barkey, your former number 2 at MK Dons, will he be joining you at Charlton?
I don't know. I think I spoke to him about the game on Saturday. We have some food. Obviously, he's a personal friend as well. We had some food together on Saturday after the game. It was very strange when you... My wife was very emotional when, obviously, before we shook hands and hugged before the game. But it's he's an employee of MK Dons, and like I say, you can't speak about players who are attached to clubs, and the same goes for when he's attached as a coach. One thing I know about Richie, he works with the FA. There's so many roles. If they don't decide to keep him, and I'll have to make sure that if he does become available, I pitch in the right way. because I know there's one or two other clubs that might want to take him, and I know there's one or two organisations that will certainly have him. So I'll wait and see how it materialises, but don't think for any moment that's going to detach from the people I have here. If it's not to be the case, I've got great people, and if it is to be the case and he decides or they let him go, well, I don't know the scenario quite yet, it'd be a great addition. So you can see we're in a very, very strong position, like we will be in January. We won't be bullied in the window. I will not be pushed because we're Charlton to pay over the odds. We'll be aggressive in it, we'll be direct in it, we'll have clear fundamental components of how we want to go into the window. And speaking to Catherine yesterday, and we've had 4 or 5 meetings already. There's a very conclusive list of people working behind the scenes, and it goes the same for the backroom staff. Clear, precise, guided group methodology, and I think that's a very conclusive way of doing any recruitment policy in the staff and in the playing system as well. But it's a weird time, this, my friend. It's a football, but then I have one eye on the business and the transition of what we can do in January. And when you go into a game and agents are calling, and it's a very, very, very busy time for managers. It's not just the games, the intensity of games, it's the productive work that goes underneath it to try and strengthen our group for the push to get out of the league, and that's our objective.
And finally, you watched one of the Charlton youth teams give Fulham a good hiding this week. I think there was a lot of quality in that performance. That must have pleased you at no end.
I was like a kid in a sweet shop, really was. I was so excited. I was really enthralled and really energised by the honesty and the determination of what a young Charlton player looks like, and the DNA. And one thing about this football club, there's been a DNA, hasn't there, in how the FALs have used their DNA of it's not. I want to, when you see a Charlton player, you know. I think a sign of a great academy and a great football club is when you don't need a badge on the shirt. You can tell. Technically gifted, aggressively organised, honest, and that's what local boys in this area are. There's an honesty, there's a desire, there's an application, and equally there's a talent. And I've seen all of that in abundance on Monday.